man, I had a great dinner the other night. One of my friends that I met in Martha's Vineyard through like a venture, like she pulled together a bunch of like Black investors.
Okay.
It was like 10 of us in a room.
I think I saw you posted a little bit of last night. Somebody got a DJ in there. Like, what DJ doing?
Yeah. So it's a couple of real estate people, a couple of investors, a couple of private wealth, like wealth investors.
Yeah.
Wealth investors. What's DJ's name? Like
Darius.
Darius
Watson.
So I met Darius. Yeah. But it was a dope room. And I'm like, those are some people that you probably should interview.
Yeah. I need to follow up too with Ainsley.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
she's
Ainsley.
dope. She's like quietly dope. She's really dope.
Yeah.
You should interview her for real.
Yeah, I got her contact info.
And she's young, man. She's like, I don't even think she's 30 yet. Yeah, if she is 30, she might be like 31, 32.
31.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to hit 40 in like two and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
You'd be all right. You know, it feels, because I hit 40 in May.
Yeah.
Rolling up to it, it's like, damn.
Yeah.
But when you get there and on the other side, you're like, oh, this it's just this.
Yeah,
this is it.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same, but it's a little bit better because something does click when you hit 40 where you stop looking behind and regretting and start looking ahead and like planning.
Okay.
Right. I don't know what it is, but there's a shift where it's like, what happened. It is what it is.
Do you feel a difference in like when you hit 30 and when you hit 40? Because when I hit 30, I'm not going to lie, I turned up, but I was also like, damn, my 20s are done. Yeah.
So it was different you had a kid too.
Yeah, early.
Yeah. So I think when I hit 30, I felt like, okay, I'm an adult, like people can't talk down to me just because I'm young. Because I really wasn't turning up, right? Yeah. I was at home with my kid trying to build, the brand that I have now. But when I hit 40, it became more about me. I think when I hit 30, it was like, okay, I need to do all the things society tells you. Like I need to, have this house. I need to get married. I need to do this. And it wasn't necessarily because I wanted those things. It was because I thought that's what made me accomplish.
Right.
Now it's like, I want to write a book. I want to go do this travel. I want to, it's like, it's more about me and like, what do I want to accomplish before, my time is up here. And
do you think going through what you went through and being on this side of it now, do you think you would have more kids?
You mean like if I had to repeat it all over again?
No, I mean like right now.
Oh, hell no.
I mean like right now.
No. Okay, so I'll say this. One, I'm 40, so it's like, do I really want to like be pregnant again? No, not at this age. But I mean, like women are having babies all day, every day, right? Like especially now, it's you can have a kid and no health problems. We're healthier, I think, as a generation, and we know more about like how to keep ourselves well. The thing that I say is if I get married and I'm marrying someone who doesn't have any children, we can negotiate that conversation,
Yeah.
But is it like something that I'm hoping for, longing for? I'll be a fantastic stepmom. Bring me some bonus babies, I happily be a bonus mom.
Yeah.
Do I personally want to have a child in my womb? I'm good. I'm good on that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the older we get, those are the questions like we're asking ourselves now too, because depending on who you're with, depending on how many kids you've had, like my daughter's 18, I've had one kid, but I'm also like, I didn't get it to do it my way.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I had her for a little bit on my own, and then her mother had kids, so she went back with her mom. Right. So like she got to raise her. Yeah. So it's like I didn't get to wake up every day.
It's different for a man. Y'all don't take on the biological risk of having a child.
Yeah, true.
Right. Like Black women are dying in childbirth. Yeah. And I think about that when I think it's like, do I want another child so much that I'm willing to put myself at risk? That's the way I have to look at it, right? And it's like, there's a lot of babies that need to be adopted. Like if I get
nah, that's right. That's true though. That's true.
So yeah, I think it's easier for men because there is no biological risk that you carry. There's no physical risk. There's, emotional, financial, all of those risks.
Those are heavy too.
Those are heavy. Yeah. I don't want to take anything away from it. Too. But the reality is that choosing to have a baby is a bigger decision than just being a parent.
Right. For sure.
For a woman, especially, as she gets older, but just for a woman, period. Right. Like this is like, regardless of age, socioeconomic status, you're choosing to put your life on the line in order to bring life into the world.
That's true.
And that's a heavy thing to think about.
And we also have other things to think about as well. For example, I was reading an article and I think now it was saying $100,000 a year isn't enough.
I believe it.
It isn't enough to raise a family.
I believe
like it used to be like, oh, I hit six figures.
Yeah.
Like we're comfortable. But like now it's not enough. And I feel it though.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Me too. I was having this conversation about like, how much money I have, how much money I'm making. And I'm nowhere near like on the wealthy side, but I surpassed six figures a while ago. We'll just of course. I'm somewhere in between that range. Mm-hmm. But to that point, I don't feel like what I thought hitting six figures would feel like.
Right.
Like before when it's like, man, I can't wait to hit six figures. Yeah. You think it's going to feel away. Yeah. And then to your point, you hit it and you like.
Yeah. Not for sure.
2 emergencies happen and, I don't know what I'm going to do,
Or a bad investment.
Or a bad investment. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I remember the first time like I was actually 6-figure like liquid, right? Mm-hmm. It was right before the pandemic. And I'm not gonna lie, I was excited. I'm like, man, like, all at one time.
Yeah.
And the only thing that honestly that changed for me was just that I came from like I don't want to say a scarcity mindset, but I've been low to where it's like, let me check how much I have before I pump gas.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I just felt happy that I didn't have to check anymore.
Yes.
Like it's like, oh, we want a dinner? Swipe.
Right.
I want some clothes? Swipe. Exactly. It's not somewhere like, oh, let me log in.
Let me see how much I have. But I think that's a really important point because it's the other side of the 6-figure conversation that I don't like is when people are like, oh, 6 figures is nothing. And it's like, no, removing the weight of having to worry about whether you can pay for a dinner.
Man.
That's like a psychological burden that you carry that when that is gone, you feel the difference.
Oh, you do.
Yeah. I feel like when people say money can't buy happiness, I'm like, you haven't been broke enough.
That's a bar. That is true.
You have not been broke enough because if you've been broke and like trying to figure out, like you said, can I afford gas? Let me put 2 gallons in.
Exactly.
Because I can't afford to fill it up, shoot, that money will buy you a lot of happiness. It'll at least buy you peace of mind.
I've been there. And I'm going to share this story before we officially get started. Yeah. I remember I was at my lowest point when I was basically recycling money, meaning let's say I had a credit card due.
Yeah.
Minimum was like $50. It was like, okay, if I pay this credit card, that's all I got left. Yeah. But my Capital One card, if you pay it, it shows up the same day.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I would just pay that.
Pay it and then spend it.
And I was like, I got to get out. I got to get out of this. I got to get out of this. And, of course, it took some time, some hard work, some hustle and grit.
Of course, yeah.
But we're here now. Never want to go back to that.
Never. And the last thing about that is that like the crazy thing is like when you have, I don't know if you feel this way, but like when you've been poor, no matter how much you make, it's like almost like this thing on your back where it's like, if I make the wrong move, I could go back.
Oh,
like
definitely.
You never feel like you're free from potentially losing it and going back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I remember I had some people hit me up and it wasn't a lot of money, but it's just like, I've been low to where like, man, $2,000 did a lot for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't, even though I got it, I'm not just going to just give it just cause,
but people don't understand that.
Yeah.
They think that because you got it,
you
should just be free with it. And it's like, nah, it's not quite.
And another part too that people have to realize too is there's other parts of, growing financially, right? So as entrepreneurs and business owners, we can have money, but it can be tied to investments, tied to the business, or we're investing it. So sometimes like we don't have it liquid, but we're not broke.
We're not broke.
We just don't have it to spend at that moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's a really, really good point. It's like, yeah. And honestly, if you're like moving your money wisely, you really shouldn't be super liquid.
Exactly.
Because that money is depreciating daily. So you really should have it in some type of interest bearing something, asset, investment, business or something. Which means like, nah, I ain't got it.
Yeah.
I ain't got it.
For sure.
Yeah,
I agree to that. Well, let's get to it. Thank y'all for tuning in. I don't know if we're going to keep all this, but we might keep all this. But thank y'all for tuning in to the COSIGN Conversations podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs, executives, professionals that we co-sign and want to share their amazing story with our audience. Today, I have a very, very amazing special guest. She's a friend to me and the platform. She's Michelle Williams, also be Michelle Williams on platforms. She is the Olivia Pope in Dallas. I was thinking this before I even got her bio. She is Olivia Pope in Dallas, what we'll dive into. Michelle, how you doing today?
I'm great. Yes. Happy to be here. Finally. We've been trying to put this on the books.
I know.
For months.
I know. Thank you for being patient with us too.
Of course. Thank you for being patient with me.
Of course. Award winning as well, multi-award winning.
Thank you.
So this is long overdue. Yeah. But I want to ask this also from a place of curiosity, because I knew who you were before I knew of you.
Okay.
And everybody was like, you need to get to know her.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they would just tell me, but wouldn't tell me why.
Yeah.
So for the viewers watching, our audience, our community, give us like a rundown of like what you do and who you are.
Right. Okay. I'm a girl from Gainesville, Texas.
Okay.
Let's start there. I'm a country girl from Gainesville, Texas. My family is from, a lot of people actually don't know this. So my father's family is Chickasaw and Black.
Okay.
My mom's family is white and Black.
Okay.
So my mom's from Cali. Grandmother is German.
Oh, wow.
Grandfather is from Chicago. On my dad's side, my dad, like my great grandfather, is Chickasaw.
Okay.
They call Chickasaw freedmen. And so come from a very diverse family.
Okay.
But I like to start there because I'm a mom, right? Because that's who I am, at my core. Because what you do can change day to day. But
for sure.
but who I am, I'm a country girl from Gainesville. What I do, so my W-2.
Had to make that specific.
My W-2 is I lead Texas strategy for Mass Challenge, which is a global tech accelerator. We focus on helping fintech, biotech, health tech, defense tech, and climate tech entrepreneurs scale in a number of different ways. We also provide non-dilutive investment into some entrepreneurs, which all that means is a grants instead of equity based funding. So we're not taking any money from those entrepreneurs. I also am an executive consultant. So I've worked with companies such as Comerica, TD Jakes Enterprises is a client of mine. I do a lot of work with their Good Soil initiative, which is focused on entrepreneurship as well. I also sit on the Fair and Responsible Lending Advisory Board for Charles Schwab. I sit on the board for the Dallas Fort Worth Urban League. I believe in Dallas. I invest my time, talents, and treasures in Dallas. I believe in Black and Brown Dallas. Similarly, I believe in business and entrepreneurship. I believe in economic freedom, economic equity. And so most everything that I do, either for work or in my leisure time or volunteerism, will circle one of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do a lot.
I do a lot.
And you do that all at a high level. Like if you ask about her in the city of Dallas, her name is highly valued in here.
Thank you.
So that's always great that you do amazing work. But I want to touch on something. So for those that you consult that kind of reach out to you, what is it specifically that they look for to where you're like, okay, I can help tackle this issue and help solve this problem for you?
Yeah. So usually if I'm working for a corporation or client, it's one of two things they're trying to solve. Either they have a strategic a strategic problem that they're trying to solve. So they're trying to build an initiative or plant an initiative, or it's something around entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So they're trying to, figure out how to grow an entrepreneurial ecosystem, how to connect certain dots, how to go into a community without being, without extracting from it, actually collaborating with it. And so one of the projects that I'm super proud of is back in 2016, I was tagged to help grow out what is now the deck at Redbird.
Okay.
And so at the time, there was nothing there. Peter Brodsky had just bought the mall, bought Redbird Mall. Okay. So there had been all of the stuff that you see now did not exist then. It was just the mall. Half the stores, 80% of the stores.
it was a zombie land.
Gone. Yeah. Empty. And at the time, the CEO, Trey Bowles, reached out to me. I was referred. He's like, I'm trying to build an entrepreneur system in the Southern sector. I hear that you can help do this. I had never done anything like this, by the way. So I don't even quite know why.
So what was your experience before then?
Before then, I was working with Leadership ISD. Okay. Which is a social impact organization that connects community leaders to public education. Okay. And I was president of the Dallas-Fort Worth Urban League Young Professionals. Okay. And so was working on, keeping the Urban League alive after it had been disaffiliated. So I had a lot of community work. Okay. And so that's why they were like, okay, she has, great roots in the community. She can help us do this thing. And this is where I really learned how to do strategic work is, I was given an old Rainbow store that still had the dressing rooms in it. Oh, wow. And they were like, hey, you need to find a construction firm. You need to build this out. You need to figure out how to do the layout. You need to fundraise for it. You need to fill up the space. And we have enough money to pay your salary for 8 months. So you got to fundraise for your own salary. Oh, wow. And don't get me wrong, like, Trey was out there hustling and raising money. And so I don't want to make it seem like I was doing this by myself. Right. We had a great board at the time that was supporting the work that we were doing. But I just remember my second day, sitting down like, okay. I met with another community leader, Maggie Parker. At the time she was at Trek. And she was like, do you have a pro forma? And I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what a pro forma is.
So you're learning as you go.
I'm learning, literally learning as I go. And now a decade later, it's a flagship location in Redbird. It's sustained. And I think that's the true testament of the strength of what you've built is, does it sustain after you leave? That means that you created a firm foundation. And that's what really launched me into doing strategy work is learning what works, what doesn't work, learning coalition building, learning public-private partnerships, learning how to fundraise. And I learned that all there.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but for that project, you raised $2.5 million?
Yes. Yeah. Over the tenure of the first 2 or 3 years. Okay. We got a couple of government grants, a couple of, a very large grant from, JP Morgan Chase, and a large grant from Bank of America. We won a couple of awards during that time as well. So yeah, it's a cool project.
So I want to start off with fundraising and capital, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, that's one aspect they fail at is raising enough capital. Let's start off with this. Is it as hard as people make it out to believe?
Yes.
It is.
It is. It becomes easier as your relationships grow, right? Because you build trust, and people especially in Texas, they like to give money to people, not just initiatives, but to people. Behind it. Yeah, to the people behind it. And so it does get easier as you go. But the reason why fundraising is hard, and of course, there's 2 different types of fundraising, right? You have philanthropic fundraising, which is what we were doing for the deck.
So the deck was a nonprofit? It
was a nonprofit, yeah. The Dallas Entrepreneur Center is a nonprofit. So you had philanthropic fundraising, which is what we were doing for the deck, but then you have business fundraising, which is what most entrepreneurs are doing. And they're a little bit different in some ways, but they're very similar in some ways. You still have to share proof points. You still have to show that you have a team that can execute. Right. You still have to align what you're doing with your investors' values. But I would actually argue that business fundraising is a little bit harder because you have to show returns on that investment.
For sure.
Nonprofit fundraising, you have to submit reports, right? They're looking for outcomes and outputs. They're looking for revenue, right? They want that money back.
Yeah.
Plus, when you're fundraising for your business. And so the thing that I tell entrepreneurs all the time is like, I have them ask themselves, do you need equity-based funding right now? I was just talking to an entrepreneur yesterday, and he was about to write a $3,000 check to a software developer for an app. I'm not going to tell his business in case he watches this, but I was like, I don't think you need that yet. I think you can build an MVP on ChatGPT or Claude. I think you can use that until you know that this works or not. And then you can go invest. But like you're over here trying to hustle and raise this money and he's bootstrapping. And I'm like, every dollar counts.
Every dollar does.
So I think that the very first question that entrepreneurs should ask themselves before they start fundraising is, do I need to fundraise right now? Does it need to be equity-based fundraising? Because it feels like it's free until you have to pay it back. Right. It feels like it's free money until you got to pay it back. Because with every check that you take, you give a little bit of ownership away.
For sure.
And ownership is expensive. So you have to look at it like this is expensive money that I'm taking in. Do you need to take this expensive money right now? Or can you bootstrap just a little while longer?
A little bit longer. Yeah. No, that's important. From what you've seen over the past decade, and especially now with the climate of the economy, where are you seeing most opportunities for investment? Like what sector of business?
I mean, of course, AI. Everyone wants to invest in AI right now. But I think that there are some other like sectors that are less sexy, but really big. So like biotech, pharma, health, anything in that area. There's a lot of
health tech.
Health tech is a lot, really big. Especially I'm seeing a lot more femtechs, like women-based tech, women health-based tech products coming into market, which is really, really important because a lot of like women health studies didn't start until like the 70s. So like as a nation, we're kind of behind. So as much innovation as there can be in femtech, there's a big opportunity there. Of course, with this administration, you're going to see a lot of money in defense. The government is putting a lot of money in defense innovation. But the other side of that is that there's also money in what we call dual use innovation, which is essentially an innovative product that can be used for both a consumer facing, like civilian facing use case, but then also like a defense or like a resiliency use case. So I'll give you an example. There was a health tech company that created a certain type of like eye drop. Like it's like a special type of eye drop for like really, really hot, heavy climates because like Visine and stuff isn't moisturizing enough, I guess. And it was just a product that, they lived in the Middle East and they needed some type of product. Well, who else needs eye drops in hot, heavy climates? Soldiers, right? And so they had never considered the Department of Defense as a potential client. They were just trying to get this out into CVS. They wanted to sell at Walgreens. And then they discovered through a partnership actually that Mass Challenge had that like, I can sell this to the Department of Defense as well. So that's a big, big, big industry right now.
I agree. I was talking to somebody from Wells Fargo who's over the veteran side of commercial lending. And he was saying that he recently did a loan for, it's an AI company, but it's a government AI company. Basically, he built ships, AI-enabled ships that weren't manned by anybody.
Wow, I believe it.
And they were like 30 feet long ships, and he won a contract with the Department of Defense to build like 300 or some 3,000 more, and did a loan for it. And they were saying like, for his side is like the veteran side, they're a government's contracting has been like a huge book of business.
It is a huge book of business right now. And so, and as much as, I don't know about you or your listeners, like I'm not advocating for creating weapons or supporting war. But these are still humans that need certain things. And so especially if you're building a type of like a health tech product or any like personal product that is, you know, just helping people live better, it probably has a defense use case to protect soldiers. Or even like there's still like civilian families, like, you know, that are over there. There's still weird nurses, right? There's still people that are nurses. that are you know, helping our soldiers come home safely. But then the other thing too is like if you're building a tool like around like water sustainability or food or any type of like resiliency, like human performance type of startup, there's probably a government use case for that.
Nah, for sure. Yeah. And knowing what you know about that, so if somebody gave you $1 million right now to invest, what would that be for you? Where would you put that?
It's crazy because I wouldn't. You mean like in innovation or just period?
Just period.
I would buy land.
Okay.
I would buy land in the northern part of the United States.
Okay.
So like the Wyoming like type of area.
So is this more for personal use or
both? Okay. So I was talking to this is what happens when you start to get around really, really wealthy people is they show you how they see the world a little bit differently. So this is gonna sound bougie. So I mean,
we already know that you. It's no secret.
I was in Martha's Vineyard.
Okay. I said Martha's Vineyard.
I was in Martha's Vineyard.
Living your best life.
Right. Living my best life. And I was having dinner with a couple of, we call them LPs, limited partners. Right. These are people that invest in venture funds. So these are the funds of the funds. Right. And this sister, she was like 38, 39. She had exited 2 tech companies, multimillionaire, chilling. She was talking about like what she was investing in. Right. And so she was like, you know, investing in fintech, I'm investing in climate tech, and I'm investing in land in Wyoming. And then she keeps going. And I was like, one of these things is not like the other. Let's take a step back. And she said, I'm thinking of my children's children right now. Okay. And the way that climate change is happening, it's going to affect the southern part of the United States first. And in the next 10 to 15 years, you're going to see Utah and Montana and Wyoming start to become more popular destinations because their climates are going to be a little bit more stable than the coasts and the southern part of the United States. And so she's like, I'm investing in land for my grandchildren because they're going to need it. Right. And I was like, and she's like, yeah, if you go and look and see where like the top 1% are buying, and I did, it's a lot in that area because of climate change that they're also denying at the same time, which is interesting. So that's the first thing. It's actually been on my radar lately. It's like, oh, let me pay more attention to this. But as far as like innovation goes, I would invest in AI infrastructure more than AI innovation. Okay. Right, like water systems, of course, super important. Electric systems are super important. And those are not going to go anywhere. And it's a very low risk investment that's going to create large returns in a short period of time. So
that makes sense. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I'm thinking back, I'm still stuck on this whole Wyoming thing.
Right. It blew my mind. Blew my mind.
You know what that reminds me of? And this is how I know I watch too much TV. There's a show on Hulu called Paradise.
Paradise. Yep.
And that's what this reminds me of. I am too.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it reminds me of because I always say, anything that's like on TV or in movies, there's a reality to it somewhere.
Yes. So I don't know if you watch, they have a podcast tied to it.
I haven't watched it though, but I've seen like the ads for it.
So one of the episodes, they show the type of research that the writers did. Yeah. And they brought in one of the like PhDs that they like worked with to help them like figure out what the bunker should look like. Right. Like what would you actually have to do in order to create this thing? And it was based on real research, to your point, like real, you know, doctors and professors came in and helped them provide some like true fidelity to what they're doing. Right. So yeah, you're right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're going to North Dakota or something like that.
Yeah. North Dakota. Yeah. We're going up there. Yeah.
To go back to business, right? So you have a lot of experience, and I'm more of like a hands-on learner or learner from people who are successful that's, been through different situations than me, right? So, but you learn a lot more from like the mistakes and the losses. Yeah. So I don't want to say losses because they say losses are lessons, but maybe a mistake that you made as an entrepreneur, business owner, or, through your W-2 that taught you one of the biggest lessons that, helped shape who you are and what you do today.
So a lesson that I'm actually working through live, so it's probably the freshest one, maybe not the biggest one, but it's the freshest one, is matching energy is always a bad idea. Oh. It's always a bad idea.
Okay.
And the reason why is because if you're operating at this level and someone's operating at this level, you have to literally drop your level. Your opportunities are at this level. Right. Your money is at this level. Your brand is at this level. Why would you sacrifice that for somebody who's already operating
at a lower
level? And there was a situation where I had, something happened. I got in an argument with somebody. I can be petty. I was petty. And that was someone else's first impression of me.
Oh.
That was someone else that was completely like unrelated to this situation. It was their first impression of me.
But they witnessed
that. And that's all they know. That's who they knew me to be. And this was like years ago. Oh. So I ran into this person and, I'd been trying to connect with them and they were like, you know what, Michelle, you're pretty cool. But, I'd always thought this about you because, and then they replay the scenario that happened 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah.
That was a huge lesson for me because that's 3 years of missed opportunity.
Right.
Based on one conversation with somebody that I don't even converse with anymore. Yeah. And so I think that in this like social media, everyone is trying to like, be catty against one another and all of these things. Matching energy, I know it's a popular thing. I know it feels good to your ego, but you sacrifice a part of yourself when you do that. And it's not worth it. If you're trying to build, like if you're actually out here trying to build. Now, if you're not trying to build nothing, go do you. Match energy all day. Doesn't matter. But if you're actively trying to build something, it requires you operating at your highest level as much as possible.
Piggyback on that, I realized too that I've had to not match energy, but manage expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm like this, I'm always on go. And I realize there's some people that aren't and they work at this level. And it's like, I'm the type of person too, to where I can't get petty or I'll get frustrated or I'm mad, but to the point to where I'll just stop talking to you.
Yeah.
You don't even know why.
I'm the same.
But I just stop talking to you. And then later down the line, I'm like, bro, I just wasn't feeling how you doing like that.
Moving. Yeah.
But now like I'm trying to be more mature. So I had to have a conversation of like, hey, you're not holding up your end of the bargain.
Right. Yeah.
So like instead of me getting frustrated all the time, I need to truly understand what you can commit to and what you can do. And then that way I won't expect nothing more from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But sometimes I think more highly of people than they think of themselves.
Definitely.
And that's been hurt. That's been, known to hurt me. So
right. Yeah. And I think the other side of that too is that it's not just understanding someone's capacity, but it's also understanding our assumptions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because sometimes that conversation, it's like, oh, I assumed A, B, and C. Right. To your point about like you have a higher standard. Sometimes it's like, oh, I just made some wrong assumptions about you. Let me reorient.
That's true too.
Let me reorient my expectations so that I'm not frustrated.
Yeah.
Right. So that I'm not upset.
Same. I feel bad for my immediate circle because I be venting. They be like, bruh.
Right. Yeah. No, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
But I want to talk about something you said earlier about being in that room with, I think you said about 10 individuals, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of deals are made in rooms like that. A lot of, knowledge is shared in rooms like that.
Yeah.
For people who have, like great ideas, great work ethic, great hustle, they don't have any connections.
Yeah.
What's your advice to like that person?
So I think about how I built my network.
Okay.
Because I think people see people like you and I, and they assume we just woke up one day with these massive networks, and they don't see, and I don't know if people know this about you, KG, but like, you're not like a super extrovert.
I'm not.
Like, you know, like you're not like, you work a room, you're kind, you're personable, but you're not like the person's going to walk in the room and be like, yo, you know, I'm here, what's up, you know? Which means that like, you building your network took even more work. Right.
For sure.
And so to the question, building your network requires work. And I think that people assume that they are entitled to a network, right? Like, people aren't opening doors for me, or I'm just trying to get connected and no one is connecting me. And it's like, it's your job to continually put yourself in places and spaces. And I always say, you have to build it into your calendar like anything else, like working out, like, you know, it has to be. So like, I challenge myself, because I mean, I'm like anyone else. Sometimes I just want to stay at home and watch Hulu all day.
Same.
I don't want to go out. I don't want to do the thing. But like, you have to do the things.
You have to.
In order to be seen, in order to meet people. So I think that's one thing, is being intentional about having reps of like going into spaces. And some of these places are not just networking events.
That's true.
Right? Networking events are great and cool, especially if the network has fidelity. One thing that I do love about COSIGN is that like, every event that you throw, the people in the room are great. It's not just people out there, you know, pontificating, navel gazing. It's like, these are real people that are trying to get, you know, business done, trying to get to work.
Appreciate that.
Very low ego, you know, which is important for rooms. But some people, you know, they just trying to throw events together just to make a dollar.
I've seen that too. That's why I had to slow down. So like, everybody's doing some type of mixer networking event, and it's just for $1.
For $1.
You're not really making any connections or trying to put the right people in the room. So.
Right. Yeah. And the other piece of advice that I would give them is, you have to put yourself in unconventional rooms and be willing to be uncomfortable.
Ooh, I have a great story on that.
Yes.
I have a great story on that. So I'm not racist. If you know me, I'm not racist. But when I first started COSIGN, you have to understand, I went to high school in Killeen, military town. You know, my circle was what I knew, like my Panamanian friends and family, or, you know, it was Black people.
Right.
Like, that was my circle. We listened to rap music, we played ball. That was it. So starting a business and then going to networking events where I saw nobody that looked like me.
Right. Yeah.
I literally went to, it was a Dallas Millennial Gala.
Okay. I remember that. Yeah.
So I think it's Noble. Noble was his name?
Yeah,
Noble and CY was over it. I didn't know Noble, but I met CY before. So she invited me. And she saw me. I got to the event and I saw nothing but white people. Be honest, nothing but white. I'm like, okay, this isn't for me.
Right.
So I literally stood in the corner for like 5 minutes. So like, I think I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
And she noticed me. But not like that. She just noticed that I felt uncomfortable.
Right.
She came, spoke to me. She was like, thanks for coming, blah, blah, blah. She was like, so what do you do? I told her. And then I was like, hey, but I'm about to go. She was like, before you do, let me introduce you to somebody, because I can tell that you don't feel like comfortable. So she did that. From there, I met somebody. And at that point, I thought that, you know, I had nothing in common with these individuals. But I had to put myself out there, had the conversation. I realized we had a lot in common, still really close friends. And then he introduced me to other people. So I made it work. But if I would have left immediately, I would have never had that relationship. I would have never got closer with CY, where she introduced me to so many more people.
She's amazing.
You know, over the years. So, and another thing, which is crazy, is she's actually from Harker Heights, which is like 10 minutes outside Killeen.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So that's another really cool. Another crazy story.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But even about that, you said building. That's why it's called relationship building.
Building, yes.
Building takes work.
It takes work.
It takes
work. Reps. And you know, like, sometimes you're going to have to follow up with the person 2-3 times. You got to take your ego out of it.
You definitely do.
I can usually tell within 2 meetings of an entrepreneur whether they're going to be successful or not. And it's usually 2 things. ego, how much ego that they have. Now, don't get me wrong. You have to have, like, I call it audacious confidence to be an entrepreneur. You have to think very highly of yourself.
You do.
Because you're going to get so many no's, so many doors slammed in your face. You're going to have to. So I am not advocating, towards like letting go of that confidence. Right. But if you walk in the room assuming that you're better than everyone else in the room, it's probably not going to work for you. So it's that, and then it's a couple of questions that I usually ask about their business where I'm like, you're not really going to make it. But that ego part I've seen stifle so many people when it comes to relationship building, because they don't want to follow up, or they follow up once and they're like, oh, so-and-so didn't hit me back. And it's like, that's the CEO of Chick-fil-A. You're gonna have to follow up 6 times.
Have to.
I'm sorry.
Then his assistant, and
it might take 2 years. But you got the email. Like that's that's a win. Like keep going. And so you have to remove your ego out of that network building. But to your point about the Dallas Millennial Gala story, you have to go places where you are uncomfortable. You are sometimes the only one. Yes. Also, people underestimate like some of these like very industry specific conferences and stuff like that.
That's a gem. Yeah.
And look, here's a hack. Even if you don't got the money to pay for the conference, go hang out at the hotel bar.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Go online, because there's a hotel that they've partnered with.
A host hotel.
There's a host hotel. If you can't afford the conference because you broke, go pick a day. Show up at the hotel bar, especially if it's driving distance. Show up at the hotel bar. Once the conference is over, people are going to go, and you can meet and greet people there. That's a good one. But you have to work your network.
For sure. Mm-hmm. One thing I try to do really well, and why I have great relationships, and I try to tell people the same. We're like, how do you work with this brand or this person? Mm-hmm. We know everything, essentially business is a sport. So, it's a game, but if you care and actually like the people you work with, it goes a long way. Yeah. So I don't just hit people up when I need something from them. Yeah. And that's the major problem that I see. People hit people up only when they need a connection or a sponsor. But it's like, hey, if you know this person has a kid, how's this kid doing? Right. How's their day going? How was their birthday? Right. Just a text, an email, a call goes a long way, just randomly.
There was I have a cool story about that. So when I was in grad school, they brought the CEO of Motorola out. Okay. And he was saying that he has, now I haven't gotten this good, but it was a brilliant idea. So he keeps a spreadsheet of all the contacts that he makes. We put them in our phone, but like he keeps like an actual, like an Airtable of all the contacts that he makes with important dates to that person and like some notes. So if he knows that it's John's anniversary in June, he filters his spreadsheet to June, and he does handwritten cards to every important person that has a thing happening in June. And he does it once I think he said every 2 weeks, he goes and sees like what's happening in this person's life. Just to keep those warm touches, to your point, those warm connections with the people that he wants to keep in community with.
I'm telling you, it goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Yeah. And if you can't afford $100, $200 a month, utilize those funds like to take people out. Yeah. Just don't offer to pick their brain. Yeah. Like I've done like dinners, or I have like an extra ticket to something. I'm like, who do I need to build with more this month? And I'm like, hey, you want to come to this game?
I do that all the time. You know this. I do it all the time. I'm like, who can take advantage of this thing that I got? Yeah. I'm going to call this person, this person, this person, this person. Sure. And you can have it.
And it goes a long way. It goes a long way. So I'm glad you do that. But I don't know why people feel like, they're, like you said, entitled.
They feel like they're entitled to the network. Yeah.
But I want to ask you this. This wasn't on my list, but since we're having this conversation. Okay. So one of my friends, Xavier, has a podcast called Millionaires Mindsets. Okay. And now he's been doing this thing where he just kind of does kind of like his takes on different subjects or videos. Yeah. And it was around gatekeeping, right? Okay. He said we as African-American people, Black people, urban people, need to gatekeep more.
I agree.
I said the same thing.
I agree.
He said we need to gatekeep more. And I totally agree because some people aren't ready or some people haven't even put enough work to receive the relationship or the business, and it does them a disservice.
And it does you a disservice.
You as well.
Yeah, it does you a disservice. Because people trust you.
Exactly.
So then you try to put so-and-so on, and so-and-so drops the ball because you didn't do your due diligence and vetting.
True.
I've done this before. I didn't do my due diligence and vetting. And now I'm no longer a trusted source for that person. So it not only does the person a disservice, it does everyone in the network a disservice. The person who got the ball dropped, the person who dropped the ball, and you a disservice. I absolutely agree. And it's I also think that we have to be open to having those hard conversations about why we're not connecting people to certain people. If you have that type of relationship, if you're close enough. Again, no one is entitled to your connections or resources. But if it's somebody that you have a strong enough relationship with, I think that we should be able to say like, hey, I think you need a couple more reps, build this, this, and this, and then you'll be, in a great position. Let me know if you want to grab coffee and we can talk through, and then maybe, so it doesn't have to be like, nah, I'm not going to connect you. You can do it in a way that's gracious and that's kind. But also sometimes you just got to say no.
Yeah. I was going to get to that. Like, I feel like we are like, I don't want to say emotional, but we're so used to taking everything personal that we feel like we have to like soften the blow for people when other people are like, fortunately I can't do it. And that's it. There's there's no reasoning. There's no meeting. Definitely. Unfortunately I can't do it. But we like, dang, they're going to feel this certain way.
It's empathy.
It is.
Right. And I think that there's a balance, right? Like you can't, I posted this thing today that I think women particularly deal with where we want to be likable. And it was something like, no one tells a woman that it's more important to be respected than it is to be liked. And I wholeheartedly believe that you don't have to like me, but you will respect me because I know that I'm a kind person. So if you don't like me, that's a you problem, right? If you don't like me, that's a you problem. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But to your point, I think that sometimes we lean too hard into likability, right? And so we want all these people to like us. And so we're afraid to say the hard thing, which actually makes us weaker leaders. Right. It makes us less effective. People got to like try to piecemeal what we're saying because we're speaking indirectly. So there's definitely a balance between like being empathetic, which I think that there's nothing wrong with it. And like trying to be likable.
There was a question I asked my team like early on when we like got started. It was, it's a popular question. It was like, would you rather be loved or respected? Majority of them said loved, and I'm like, I'd rather have respect. From this group, I'd rather have respect.
Definitely.
Like personal life, that's something. But from this group, I'd rather have respect because, as a leader, boss, teammate, I don't need y'all to love me. I don't need that.
Don't need that at all.
I just need y'all to respect me and the brand, and just don't disrespect those two. Outside of that, you don't have to. We don't have to do, birthday parties. I'd rather not, because sometimes when you get too close, that's when they don't respect you because they feel like, oh, I don't got to do this today because we're cool. And it makes it hard. I remember, so one of the first companies that I worked for was a company called Group Excellence. So it was a tutoring and mentoring company. A lot of the dope people that you know today, Byron Sanders, Matt Houston, Jeremy Biggers, all of us, like it was like a little power team, worked at Group. We started off at Group Excellence. Carl started this business out of his dorm room at SMU. And we were like 22, 23, 24-year-olds building a multi-million-dollar business at this time. Some of the best names in Dallas. So we started there. The company ended up growing astronomically, got bought by a private equity firm. And usually sometimes what happens with a private equity firm, they don't do any due diligence on like how the company works. And so they make decisions that then breaks up the company. That's what happened. And the CEO had to do some layoffs. And we were a very tight-knit team. And I remember I'm in the conference room working and I'm overhearing him having a conversation with an employee. Mind you, we're in our early, like mid-20s. Like I think Carl at the time was like 26, 27. And he's having this conversation with this guy, and the guy's like, Carl, like, you're my boy. I got like a wife and kids. And Carl was like, that's a personal issue. That has nothing to do with me in this company. And I was like, ooh. Tough.
But it was so real. Yeah. To your point, like sometimes those interpersonal connections make you forget that this is a business. It is. And at the end of the day,
it is.
It's a business, right? Like I don't have the check to pay you, therefore, and so I agree with you. That was a lesson that I learned really early on, through Carl, was like, you got to separate the business and the personal, because your personal has nothing to do with the business.
Have you ever had to let somebody go?
Yeah, I have. Usually, though, I see it coming. Okay. And so they are not surprised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when it happens.
Kind of have those conversations with them ahead of time?
Yeah, I have the conversation ahead of time. Yeah. Like, look, this is the roadmap. This is what I'm expecting. This is what getting better looks like. So it's usually I see it coming. And so I'm not surprised. I haven't had a situation yet, knock on wood. That's not wood. Is that right? Where like somebody has done something like shady. Okay. And I'm like, oh, you gotta, like, I haven't been in that situation.
Well, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and we were close friends too.
Oof.
Yeah. It took a while. Cause I take a lot of stuff personal, but it took a while.
Yeah.
But I'm like, bro, you're stealing from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care how you look at it. You're stealing from me.
Yeah. You know? Oof. That's the hard. I think that's harder. I think that when it's like performance based, people know when they're not performing, they can feel it. And so it makes it an easier, sometimes somewhat easier conversation. But when it's something where it's like, nah, you got to go immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah. I think those ones are harder.
Yeah. Nah, I agree. I've been on both sides. That one hurt more because I'm like, dang, bro, like there's been times you've asked like, okay, hey, I'm hurting. Right. Is there any way you can, and I've done it.
Right.
So why do you feel like you have to steal?
Right.
So that one hurt the most. Yeah. Performance based, I let them know how to like same thing. Yeah. Like they kind of understand like, hey, you haven't been doing too good this past month. We're kind of like not hitting our KPIs. Right. So this has to change, within the next couple of weeks, and they'll get the picture.
Right. Yeah.
But to kind of go back to getting funded, come on, question before I let you go. To go back to getting funded, do you think at this stage, do people fund more great ideas or great founders?
We are, okay, so this is what I was going to say, but now I'm thinking a little bit. So we're past the age and stage of easy venture money. Okay. That was 2017 through 2021. Yeah. When if you had a great idea, you could, and you had a decent network, you could pretty much get a check. With an asterisk, if you're a person of color, if you're a woman, it becomes harder. But I'll just say capital was flowing through the like venture system much more freely than it is now. What venture and a lot of those companies, the majority of them failed, which has created another level of complexity on top of a, tight market right now. And so what we're seeing in the venture world is they are funding ideas with traction and great teams. So it's a little bit of both. So they're funding good ideas that have shown traction. Right? So like, how do you know this is a good idea? Have you released it into the market? Yeah. And I always say like, let the market break it, right? Yeah. Like let them play with your toy and see if they can break it. Or do they love it and they want more of it? Right. And do you have a team? This is the part where people mess up. Do you have a team that can scale? Because people like to hire their friends. Right. Especially us. Yeah. Sure. Black and brown people, because we're so communal. Yeah. And like very like, these are our people, we gonna put you on. Y'all are hiring people, putting people on your deck that don't have any real fidelity, that can't show a funder that this person can help you scale the company. You're probably not going to get funded. So that's what people are looking for. Does your idea have traction? Like basically, you're answering the question of how do you know, and why you? So why should I fund this idea? How do you know it's going to work? And why should I fund you? How do you know your team's going to work?
But I would look at it like, okay, once they get the traction, then whatever that investment is going to be at a more higher cost to the investor. Like, I already got traction. Now I don't need you.
Exactly. Right. No, seriously.
Okay.
So you can negotiate better terms, definitely, when you're, so this is why you hear the series and stages of a company. Okay. This is where that becomes important.
Okay.
So for those that are not familiar with like company stages, so you have pre-seed, which is like, this is kind of like, I'm getting my idea off the ground. Right. Like I'm building an MVP, right? So there are some venture firms that fund pre-seed, usually not too many, but they do exist.
Okay.
That's the most expensive capital though.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot of equity.
It's gonna be a lot of equity, right? Yeah. Then you have seed stage, which means like you have an MVP, minimal viable product that you need to either scale or grow or whatever. Then you do your Series A round. And this is like where you're going to like scale your company. So you have your MVP, you have a little bit of traction. Right. This is where most like early stage VC companies fall in at is Series A. The amount of equity that you give in the preceding series, the piece of the pie shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks because the people that invested into you early get the biggest piece of the pie, right? Or at least what really is happening is that they're getting more shares for less money because you're more desperate.
Yeah.
So I can buy 100 shares of your company for $1,000. Whereas once you have traction, to your point, I don't need your money as much. So I'm gonna give you 10 shares for $1,000, right? So a share ends up costing more.
Gotcha.
And you have less of a pie to give away because you still have to have, certain shares for employees and all of these different things.
Gotcha.
As you get further down the line. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The more traction you have, the more expensive it is for the funder to get access to that.
I'm sure I can Google this, but I'm curious. Is there like a number of like a bucket of shares that you start off with?
Nah, or it's just, people say, so here's the thing about the VC world. They make it so confusing, y'all.
Right.
They try to make it so confusing. It's a little gatekept, right? Because there is a lot of money. I mean, I have my own theory that I won't go into my soapbox on, but there's a lot of money to be made in like the fund management side of like, anytime you're dealing with assets and a business is an asset, any type of asset management type of like job, finance world it's going to make more money. And so those tend to be gatekept. But there is no like perfect calculation to determine how many shares you should give out.
Gotcha.
But usually what it looks something like is you determine an amount based on the valuation of your company, which is a calculation of a couple of different things, but it also is a bit of an educated guess.
True.
Right? Because we have companies that are valued at billions of dollars and then you find out like they're not really making any revenue. Yeah. So sometimes those valuations, or oftentimes those valuations are educated guess, but they're backed up by some data, right? And then from that valuation, you determine how much your company is worth, which then determines what percentage a check will fund.
Okay.
Right. So like if your company, just use easy numbers, if your company is worth, we'll say $1,000, right? $100 is 10% of your company.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's like a mathematical equation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So determining your valuation is actually the thing that you need to be looking at.
Yeah.
Because every other piece of it follows that. The number of shares. Based off of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that also determines like the size of checks that you're willing to take. If your company's worth $1,000, you're asking somebody to give you $1,000.
Yeah.
They gonna be 50-50 ownership minimum, right? Of your company. So yeah, it's.
And that's us once you worth 100,000. Now you're like, dang, I done gave up 50%.
I done gave 50% of my company,
for
$1,000. Right. Yeah.
No.
So that's what goes back to that earlier conversation we were having that I always ask entrepreneurs, like, are you sure you need to fundraise right now?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Nah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Last part of a question about fundraising is, where do you think most founders waste time at when it comes to fundraising?
Oh, that's a good question. Where do I think they waste the most time in fundraising? Well, I mean, I think I think that they spend more time fundraising than they do trying to figure out how to get the first client.
That's a good point.
Like, I think that you should spend as much time as possible figuring out how you're going to get clients and customers, as opposed to how you're going to get like all of these checks. I think that social media and media in general, and like what we see with these big tech firms, have kind of skewed our perception of building a business. The purpose of building a business is to get customers, y'all. The purpose of building a business is not to raise $15 million, right? Like, that's a byproduct of you having a great idea that you need to scale. You raise money to scale, not just to put 50 million in your pocket. And I think that that's the part that founders miss.
Nah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I was watching Jobs again for like the 8th time yesterday, and they were at that stage to where they built like their first CPU or whatever it was, got a client, and then got investments.
Yeah.
So that's how
your goal is to see, because how do you know that your product is going to work if you haven't put it in front of a client?
Right.
And so like your goal is to see, every business idea is a theory.
Yeah, true.
I would say look at it like that. Every business idea that you have is a theory. I have a theory that if I build this, these 5 types of clients will want my product. This is why I hate when people are like, my friends and family didn't buy my product. It's like, they're not your target market.
Nah, for sure.
They're not your target demographic. If you are relying on your friends and family to buy from you, you haven't really done the market research to figure out who your target client is. Now, I'm not saying that your friends and family shouldn't support you, but the crux of your business should not be dependent on that. You should be trying to figure out who your target demographic is.
That's true. I'm gonna end with this question, which might have like a 2-part, but we'll see. So entrepreneurship ecosystem, I'm not even gonna say just Dallas, right? What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who might be within the ecosystem but still need help growing and scaling? It could be any advice, whether it's, team building, figuring out how to, scale, access client capital. Like, what was like the main thing you would tell us? I know you consult a lot of business owners as well. Like, what is maybe like a reoccurring thing you're having to like push down their minds? Or
so if you are an early entrepreneur, meaning that you're probably either a solopreneur or you have a co-founder, you have a team, let's say that you have a team of 3, we'll just say 5 or less.
Right.
If you have a team of 5 or less, the very first thing that I would say is you need to be very clear on your own weaknesses as a CEO. You need to be very clear on your weaknesses, because you have them.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because your co-founder should be helping you balance those weaknesses. You don't need a co-founder who's a yes man. You need a co-founder who's going to push back on you so that y'all can build a good business, and who's complementing your weaknesses.
Gotcha.
And so like, I know that's probably not the answer that people want, right? They want to know like, how do I, but it's like, your business is only as strong as its leadership.
Okay.
And in as much as you are building a strong business, your business is building a strong leader.
Okay.
Like and you know this, KG, like building a business, there is no other character development.
I'm telling you.
Look, the character development lessons that you're going to learn as you're building a business, if you yourself are not teachable, if you're not self-aware, if you don't know your own weaknesses, if you're not constantly like evaluating the way that you're going to market, your business likely isn't going to be as strong, and you're not going to be able to compensate for those businesses. Some of the best business owners, I was talking to my homeboy, Craig Lewis, who is fintech founder, also CEO of Ogentic AI.
I'm asking you about that offline too. It's my guy.
Yeah. We were just talking about this the other day, about the difference between like a leader and a boss, right? A leader wants to hire people that are smarter than them.
True.
And I was telling him, I was like, Craig, the difference between you and some of the other like bosses is that like, you don't care if you're not the smartest person on your team. And he was like, actually, I don't want to be the smartest person on my team.
True.
I want to build a team that's going to help me solve this problem.
Right.
Bosses, They want to be out front. They want to be on the photo shoot. They want to, now things are crumbling in the back, but they got the title and they got the brand name and they a boss and their Instagram looks polished and curated.
Yeah.
The biggest, most successful businesses, like unless you're building a media marketing, like service-based business, if you're spending more time on content curation than you are building your business, nah, bro, you ain't it.
Telling you.
You ain't it. You try to be a boss.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be a CEO.
Yeah.
And those are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a huge point. And I'm gonna counter off with this one, because a lot of people are solo founders and they can't hire. So how would they base that off of? Would you say maybe do it all things so you can find that one person who can can alleviate what you're not good at?
Yeah, let me use myself as an example because I'm going through this right now. I mean, I take my own advice. So I'm in the middle of building a virtual assistant. I'm basically like duplicating myself. So a virtual assistant firm that can also help entrepreneurs by consulting them through the process. So they're not just doing your calendars, your emails, they're looking at your processes and systems and seeing how they can strengthen them. And we can do that with AI. Like we can use AI to analyze your systems and make them stronger. So this is the firm that I'm building right now. I'm doing it by myself right now, right? And so what I had to assess in myself is like, okay, where do I keep dropping the ball? I don't have a big team right now, so I'm not hiring, right? And what am I really, really good at? Because even though I'm not hiring right now, it does tell me where I need to focus my attention and my energy, right? If I'm really, really good at relationship building and I know I need to do this, then that means that I probably need to focus my attention here and I need to outsource as much as possible the things that I'm weak at, right? And so sometimes that's like follow-up and like, you know, the admin work and like all of those different things.
Ask me admin.
Either I need to, which is what I've done, is I schedule myself a day where I'm just focused on follow-up because otherwise it's not going to get done. And that's me assessing my weaknesses, creating a strategy to like try to strengthen it as much as I can until I decide that I'm building a VA firm. Let me go ahead and hire one for myself,
right?
so that I can build this firm out. And so you can still go through the same process of assessing yourself as a CEO, identifying where your weaknesses are, and maybe you're not building a team, but you are either compensating for it by like putting a system in place, or you're outsourcing it, right? Because sometimes it may be cheaper. Your time is worth something too.
Oh, for sure.
Right, and so it might be a better use of my funds to go pay, you know, an overseas VA $8 an hour to go through my calendar versus me spending 2 hours, you know, trying to do that. I'll spend the $20. Come on, you know, let's go do it. So you can still do the same process as a solopreneur.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you so much for your time. This was great sitting down with you.
Yes.
You know, we got to do a part 2. I'm sure we could talk all day.
I love it.
Before we get out, please tell everybody where they can find you, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, website, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So BE Michelle W on most platforms. I'm not a TikToker, but I am on Instagram, on LinkedIn, LinkedIn.com, B Michelle. And I mean, I am on Twitter, but I don't be tweeting.
I don't be tweeting or Xing or whatever.
Threads now.
Oh, Threads is probably you went viral a couple times.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I be on Threads. The issue on Threads is I don't talk anything business. I just that is where I'm plugged into the culture. So if you're going to Threads trying to find some business advice, sometimes I do just because it's in me. Like I was talking NDAs the other day.
I saw that one.
Yeah. I was talking NDAs the other day, so it'll come out. But yeah, you can find me. B Michelle. My business that I'm building out is Savant.
Okay.
So it's svant.pro. I'll be launching that within the next 90 days.
Hey,
so
I'm waiting on this one.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking about it for a year. The thing that I've been like trying to build out is we should have a conversation about AI risk management.
Okay.
Is I am very, very careful. I actually think a lot of companies are going to be sued very soon. I'm very careful about putting my clients' information into an AI database. That I don't own.
Yeah.
And so what slowed me down on this business is I've been like making sure that I have moats around the systems that I'm building so I can protect my clients' database. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
It is. It really is.
We'll talk about that. But if you did like this episode and enjoy this conversation, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you do follow, the award-winning B. Michelle Williams.
Thank you, KT.
And until next time, y'all continue to live the coast on life, and we'll see y'all later.
Peace.